This episode of Mini Scroll is brought to you by Sunrise, a startup festival by Blackbird. And we're bringing you this episode recorded live from the festival at Carriageworks in Sydney. Blackbird is a venture capital firm that invests in wild hearts by wild hearts right from the very beginning. So if you have a big idea and need to raise investment to turn it into reality, you can learn more and connect with their team at blackbird.vc. Hi everyone, welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Day 2 in our beautiful glam room. This is actually the media room. So it's like where everybody kind of stores their stuff and media can work and stuff. But like all of these lights, like this is my dream. This is where I feel most at home. Is in a glam room like this. So we do have some people's equipment behind us and stuff, but for the most part, I feel like it's kind of a vibe. And I'm so glad that you guys noticed that the lighting is pretty slay because you guys know I was worried about that. Okay, let's just get into the stories for today. But as always, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please also Spotify star rate us. We're trying to get to 1,000 Spotify star ratings, and we are trying to get to 10,000 YouTube subscribers. All right, the first story that I have for you guys today is I'm going to break down everything going on between Brooki Cookies and Nagi from RecipeTin Eats. For context, Brooki Cookies is an extremely viral cookie brand on TikTok. Brooki Bakehouse is based in Queensland, Australia, and was founded by Brooke Bellamy. RecipeTin Eats has many various aspects to the business, including her blog, a social presence, cookbooks, and also a food bank. Nagi, the founder, is also based here in Australia. She is based in Sydney. Last year, Brooke published a cookbook called Bake with Brooki, and it's been really successful. I think they said it sold around 100,000 copies, so it made almost $5 million. Earlier this week, Nagi published a statement saying that Brooke had plagiarized recipes in this cookbook. The blog was titled, "When You See Your Recipes in a $4 million book." Quote, "This is a story about a multi-million-dollar cookbook by a social media influencer published by a blue chip publisher featuring numerous recipes that, in my opinion, are plagiarized, given the detail and extensive word-for-word similarities to mine and those of other authors," the statement reads. Nagi pointed specifically to the caramel slice and baklava recipes. In the blog post, she went on to include side-by-side comparisons of the recipes, where she also shared that she made copyright infringement allegations against Penguin Random House Australia. Quote, "I'm speaking up because staying silent protects this kind of behavior. Profiting from plagiarized recipes is unethical, even if it is not copyright infringement, and undermines the integrity of the entire book," she added. In the blog post, she clarified that Penguin Random House Australia have denied the allegations. So now Brooke has come out with a statement herself on Instagram stories. She doubled down, saying that she did not plagiarize the recipes in her cookbook. Quote, "I did not plagiarize any recipes in my book, which consists of 100 recipes I have created over many years, since falling in love with baking as a child and growing up baking with my mom in our home." Brooke went on to claim that she has been selling her caramel slice recipe for 4 years before Nagi even published the recipe. However, I will say that her evidence of this, she posted a photo to her Instagram story, a time-stamped photo of a caramel slice in her bakery. And it's like, okay, but a photo of a caramel slice from 4 years ago doesn't really prove that you didn't take her recipe. I didn't think that was actual evidence. But anyways, Brooke also shared that she offered to remove the recipe, an option that Nagi allegedly had been made aware of. Quote, "I have great respect for Nagi and what she has done in recent years for cooks, content creators, and cookbooks in Australia, especially as a fellow female entrepreneur," Brooke concludes. Recipe development in today's world is enveloped in inspiration from other cooks, cookbook authors, food bloggers, and content creators. This willingness to share recipes and build on what has come before is what I love so much about baking and sharing recipes, the community that surrounds it. Okay, so Nagi is also not the only baker to come forward about Brooke. Sally McKenney, who is known as Sally's Bake Blog, which it's actually crazy because RecipeTin Eats, Sally's, I think it's Baking Addiction is what her URL is now. These are literally the top blogs when I am searching, because I love to bake, but I'm really bad at it, but I love to bake, so I'm always baking cookies and stuff. And Every time I use a recipe, I am not kidding, they are from those two blogs. And it's so crazy because I feel like I have a parasocial relationship with these people's recipes, but I actually like never followed the creators or like knew who they were. Anyways, so Sally has made similar claims. In an Instagram story, she wrote, "Nagi, you know how much I admire and support you, and I'm so grateful you let me know months ago that one of my recipes, the best vanilla cake I've ever had, published by me in 2019, was also plagiarized in this book and also appears on the author's YouTube channel. Original recipe creators who put in the work to develop and test recipes deserve credit, especially in a best-selling cookbook." Okay, so there's been a lot of discussion about this whole situation on TikTok. Some users are saying like caramel slice baklava, those are like standard, or like a vanilla cake, like those are standard staple recipes and you really can't deviate too much from them. I will say the recipes, at least the ones that I saw that Nagi posted, like are literally the exact same. The instructions slightly vary, like in terms of verbiage and sentences and stuff, but the actual recipes themselves, the ones that I saw, were the exact same. A lot of creators in this camp are bringing up the point of intersectionality, saying that Nagi, who is a woman of color, has had to work probably twice as hard to get where she is, especially in comparison to Brooke, who is a white woman. One creator said, quote, "She is always going to be vilified if she is next to a white woman." The vast majority of the feedback that I have seen has been against Brooke, so we'll see. I don't know if this can necessarily like go the course, but Nagi did post that she has lawyers involved, and she was like, if there's any other bakers that want to get in on this, like message me if you feel like you have been plagiarized by Brooke too. The next story that I have for you guys is we have an update on the whole JoJo Siwa Kath Ebbs split. So I covered this on Monday's episode. I'm not going to go into all the details, but to put it simply, JoJo Siwa and Kath were together. Kath Ebbs, who is an Australian influencer, were together. JoJo went on Big Brother and was seemingly flirting with Love Island UK's Chris Hughes. Social media users were pressuring Kath to speak out for weeks, but only this week did they publish a TikTok talking about the situation. They revealed that they had broken up at the Big Brother after party and that JoJo had dumped Kath. So JoJo has spoken about the split herself now in a couple public appearances, because obviously now she's doing press for Big Brother, but most recently on the Vile's File podcast. I'm sorry, I really do not want to be out here like supporting Nick Vile, so just know that. I'll recap it so you guys don't have to go listen. In the episode, JoJo said that Chris wasn't the reason that they split from Kath, saying, quote, "There's so many reasons why my breakup happened. Christopher is not one of them. I actually told this to Kath, like maybe it would be easier if he was, but he is not one of them. So if you're going to share the story, share the story. Don't paint it out to look like I cheated on you with him, because I did not, I would not, and I have not." JoJo spoke about the rap party, saying that she didn't want to have the conversation about their relationship immediately, but it ended up happening there. Quote, "All of a sudden we're having it. And all of a sudden, you know, we're at the rap party for Big Brother. I'm getting cussed out. I also keep reiterating, like, I'm not in a place to talk. I was just with 13 people, down to 6, locked away for 20 days. I haven't spoken to anybody. It's just a whirlwind. Anyways, by the, 16th time somebody asks you, are you happy? Do you want to end things? You're going to just spew your guts." And I was honest, and I said, if you ask me tomorrow, I don't know my answer. If you ask me right now, my answer is yes. And then that obviously was taken as a yes. So I guess that sheds a little bit more light on this. I think we're never gonna know the full truth, but I do kind of love how much this has elevated Kath's profile. I was actually just saying this to somebody. I was having a meeting with somebody who's in the film industry in Australia before recording this, and she was talking about how like one of her missions, kind of in the startup space, is to really make a place for Australian film and television, because so much, I don't know, I'm not super familiar with it, but like so much, I guess, in this industry, like you pitch projects and they only get picked up if they're like really Australiana. And she was like, it shouldn't be that like, oh, this is an Australian TV show, or like, oh, this is an Australian film. Like it should just be like, oh, I watched this show and it was good. And I was saying, I actually feel like Australia is starting to make quite a cultural impact in internet culture, because I'm sure you guys have noticed, but over the last like few months, even just, it's been so recent, like almost every day I am covering stories related to Australian creators, internet culture, cool things that are happening here. And it's not just like my algorithms because I live here, like it is on a global stage. So that is, I guess, a silver lining out of this breakup, if Kath can take one. Okay, the last story that I have for you guys is Madison Beer has opened up about her experience having her nudes leaked as a minor. Okay, so for those who are unfamiliar with what happened, Madison had sent intimate pictures and videos on Snapchat when she was around 15 years old to the boy that she was in a relationship with at the time. Soon the pictures were leaked and she started getting attacked pretty intensely online. She has spoken about this experience here and there. She spoke about it in her memoir, the half of it, and she also talked about it on Call Her Daddy. And I mean, this is just a horrible experience. Obviously, not only would it just be her complete trust and privacy breached, but fully grown men were totally sexualizing her online. And she has talked about kind of the PTSD and even attempted suicide after the incident. In a new interview for Cosmopolitan, she revealed that she has since reconnected with the person who leaked the nude footage of her. Quote, the boy who the whole nude situation happened with, he reached out to me and was like, I had no idea that I hurt you like this. I'm so sorry. I don't know how it feels to be a 14-year-old boy receiving photos of a girl. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I don't think he was being malicious, showing them to his friends. He was a kid, Madison said in the interview. She also revealed that she has, quote, had to sit people down and be like, hey, you owe me an apology for what you did to me when I was a kid. And a lot of the other people from that time in my life. I just have completely severed my relationships with. I don't care to make up with you or to be cool with you. People really overlook how tumultuous Madison's career has been ever since being discovered, quote unquote, by Justin Bieber and Scooter Braun, and subsequently dropped from the label for allegedly not being successful enough. Like the fact that she was so young when all of this happened, I think it really shows how difficult it can be to navigate that industry. I feel really bad for Madison Beer. I have a soft spot for her because we've interviewed her twice and she's always been so nice, but I feel really bad for her. I think she's had a really, really tough career, a tough like teenage to young 20s hood, you know, and I really want to see her win. I want to see her become a main pop girly, and I know there is a lot of discussion about the fact that like she can't get out of her own way in terms of how she presents herself, and that's why she, like, because she has the voice and her music is amazing, but you know, she can't get out of her own way. But I think a lot of that has to do with like what she endured at such a young age in this industry. I would be very protective of my image and very controlled and very self-conscious and insecure and all the things that people say about her. Like I would feel that exact same way if this is how I was treated early on in my career. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. I'm so excited because I have an interview with Annabelle and Lucy from Clutch Glue, the viral fashion glue brand. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about them, especially if you're here in Australia, but they actually are, I think, worldwide, or at least they're also in the US right now. But yes, so I interviewed them yesterday at the festival, so I'm really excited for you guys to hear this interview. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and I will talk to you tomorrow for a Friday mini scroll. Bye. Okay, so I am so excited to talk with you guys about Clutch Glue. We just did our founder story presentations. So how are you guys enjoying Sunrise so far? Just to like start off.
It's been great. I wasn't too sure what I was expecting in terms of, was it going to be lots of just like keynote speaking? Were people going to be really stiff? Or, you know, was it going to be a bit of an us and them type situation between speakers and people that are attending? But it has just been such a lovely, positive environment. I feel like it's really hard to achieve is that people feel comfortable going up to anyone, complete strangers, and introducing themselves and sharing their ideas and their network as well. And it's just, we need more. We need more of this. Can we do this every day?
Totally. I love all the discussion that was there. I was at the like future of dating app swiping sort of session, and it just felt like, even though there were sort of 4 people who were doing the Q&A, it felt like everyone in the room was a part of it. We were all just like having a chat like gals, which was just so nice.
Yeah, and it's really creative and fun. Like, it's a lot more creative than I would expect, like, a VC startup festival to be.
Tech VC at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So for anyone that does not know, tell us about Clutch.
So Clutch Glue is a first of its kind glue alternative to fashion tape. Yay. So instead of using fashion tape to stick your clothes to your skin, I invented a glue that does the same thing but better. So you can just pipe it onto your skin, leave it to get tacky, pop your clothes back over the top, and then when you're done, you just peel it off and it comes straight out in the wash when you're done. It is a globally patented formula. Yes. It is also hypoallergenic. It's vegan, will not ruin your clothes. It's compatible with all clothes. And it is made of 100% sustainable packaging as well. Yeah. So we've created a truly cyclical fashion ecosystem.
That is the best elevator pitch I have literally ever heard.
Yeah, I've done it before.
Speaking of that, so you guys, well, Annabelle, you were on Shark Tank.
I was.
Okay, so tell us about the journey from like ideation. I know we just did this. I know you guys just presented this, but like very high level, your journey from ideation to Shark Tank. And what was it? What were you saying? You guys were the best pitch of all time.
History.
Yes, yeah.
Wild. So in terms of how Shark Tank came to be, so what happened was I got a DM from a producer for Shark Tank, and he was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about going on Shark Tank?" And I was like, literally like, fuck off. Like, I'm not interested. And it just like, didn't really make sense to me. I was like, who are these celebrities that are like trying to get on your cap table? Like, I was just kind of a bit perplexed by the whole thing. And anyway, I was like, oh, but it makes good TV though. I mean, we've all seen the Scrub Daddy episode, have we not? Yeah. And then I like thought about it a little bit more. I spoke to Lucy. I spoke to one of our marketing advisors, and he was like, you know what? Could be kind of iconic to like go on and just do it and then afterwards reject their offer. And I went, cool, actually. You know, the sharky becomes the shark.
Yes.
And so we did just that.
Instead of looking at it as like a cap raise of, if you will, look at it as a PR opportunity.
100%. And so it's millions of dollars worth of free advertising is truly what it is. Yeah. And so you get about 6 months notice between like getting on the show and then actually your film date. And I was one of the final film slots of the entire season. And so I went in there, we did about 100 hours of preparation beforehand. We did about 6 different mock Shark Tank nights where Lucy found people from all over the world. I'm not joking. She found somebody that went on Shark Tank France, and we had a call with him at like 1 a.m. in the morning doing the mock pitch to him, and I got absolutely rinsed. The whole idea was to go on there to do these mock things and like to just absolutely grill me. It wasn't meant to be a positive experience, right? And so then it came 2 weeks before the final, before I was filming, and Lucy was like, we're going to get all your friends and we're going to get 6 shark-like people that we know, and again, you're going to get absolutely roasted.
The pressure is going to be
on. And the pressure was going to be on. And again, best thing we could have done, I got absolutely rinsed. Like, it was awful, so uncomfortable. And scary being in a room with full of your friends. Yeah, like, that's scarier.
Yeah.
Way scarier. And then I knew, though, that was the space to fail. If I was going to fail, it was there, and all is well. The stakes weren't very high. But after that, I got rinsed for about 2 hours, that went for. And those that don't know, when you go on Shark Tank, it is all one take, but it's only 45 minutes that you're in there for. But again, it's all one take, and so you can't make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, they're probably going to put it in the edit.
Definitely put it in.
So I was like, nah, like it has to be bang on. Like I can't even say an I can't say an R. Yeah. I really just needed to get it right. So we finished that, and then honestly, then by the time I got to filming day, I was like, thank God this is over. Yeah, I was like, thank God. And so I've never felt that way about anything in my life. I was so present. I remember every second of that day, and I enjoyed every single moment. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's what being prepared will do.
Yeah. You did your homework and it paid off. Okay, so tell us about the process of coming up with the idea of Clutch, and then I know you guys worked on it for 4 years before it launched. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So one fateful night I was at Chinese Laundry. For anybody that's been there, it's like the sweatiest club ever. And I had taped myself into this jumpsuit. I was like 19 at the time. And I went there with all my friends, and within literally a second I entered the club, I started to sweat, and it all came off. And I was like, in that moment of frustration and embarrassment, I was like, wouldn't it be so much easier if I could just glue myself into my clothes? And I was like, good idea. And then I was like, surely somebody has thought about this before though, right? Like, I've never had an original experience. Surely there's a better solution out there. So I did some market research, and I was absolutely perplexed to find that there was genuinely nothing on the market that did what I wanted it to do, which was a sweat resistant but water soluble clothes adhesive, seriously strong. It needs to be able to be compatible with all fabrics. It needs to be hypoallergenic. You know, the laundry list just went on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, how hard can it be? We can get men to the moon. I can invent glue. And I was a construction manager at the time, and I remember just being like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I know I want my ideal outcome, which is a glue, but let's just break it down into bite-sized pieces and start from square one, which was I'm not a scientist. How do I find a scientist who's going to invent this for me, but it's my IP and my formula? So took me a while, but then I finally got onto somebody at UNSW who was a bit interested in the project, and he said, okay, his name was Raymond, 60-year-old man from the US that was coming in to invent some fire retardants, completely different to glue. And he was like, his first question was, why do you want a water-soluble glue?
The whole point of glue is that it isn't water soluble.
Yeah. And I was like, the details don't matter, Raymond. Can you do this or not?
It happen.
And he did it. It took him about a year, and we had plenty of samples that we went through that were terrible. And then we finally landed on the clutch formula where everyone unanimously was just like, this is the one. And that was it. Paid him out. And that was literally the end of the journey. To this day, I still send him emails. I'm still like, Raymond, like, look at what you've done for the girls.
Yeah.
He does not care.
He's like, great. He's like, when you text your dad and dad's like,
Thumbs up.
I love that.
That's what we get from him. He just genuinely does. I'm sure he like cares about, you know, to an extent the success, but like he's just kind of like, okay, it's amazing. So we struck gold with Raymond.
yes,
He's the best.
How do you even go about like looking for a scientist? Like what was that process?
Yeah, so there were a few things that I like unraveled from there, which was that you can get a lot of freelance scientists, you can, but they don't have access to labs. Like it's not like a co-working space where you can just like grab a desk. It's like, no, well, there's no real like co-working labs. Now, there were plenty that I could find in China and India, but I was removed from them and it was COVID, so I couldn't travel. And I wanted someone that I knew I could actually trust, actually wholeheartedly trust, who understood that our IP was incredibly important. And I knew really the only way to do that was through a academic institution in Australia. That was like really the only way that I sought it to be the best outcome. And so I just kind of emailed a bunch of universities in Australia and I was like, would you be interested in this? And got a lot of no's, got a lot of no replies as well. I think it took me about 6 months to get a reply from UNSW, and then they finally replied, and you know, the rest is history. But yeah, that was kind of the way that I thought made the most sense in my head. I think that like being a construction manager, I sort of knew that there were fundamentals that I needed to get right, and the quality and the IP were the two main things.
Let's talk about you guys working together, your sisters.
Yeah.
Okay, how has that been? And what is your favorite part of working with your sister, and maybe like your least favorite part?
I absolutely love working with Lucy because, well, the one thing is that like, and it's really hard as a founder yourself, you would know this, hiring people is difficult because they don't care about your brand as much as you do. And you know, they do their 9 to 5 and they go on annual leave. How nice is that? Like, you know, there's things like that where that was a really complex issue. And so when Lucy was pretty much a part of the brand from the get-go, because she was just doing me favors, and then it sort of evolved into this whole thing. But like, I never thought about it any other way because I knew she was somebody who I could trust and wholeheartedly cared about this brand as much as I did. And so it made perfect sense to get Lucy involved. I think I absolutely love, my favorite thing about working with Lucy is that she loves this brand as much as I do, and I'll never be able to find that sort of passion when we, you know, build out our team, albeit we do have the most passionate COO on the planet. Shout out Ollie. He's also excellent, but again, we got lucky with that.
Yeah.
But my least favorite thing about working with you is that we do not switch off
Yeah.
ever. We have no
true.
boundaries. Like
Yeah.
it is every waking moment of the day. I'm not joking. It's like 11, 12 at night up until sort of 5 in the morning is when it starts again.
Yep.
We have no boundaries.
No boundaries. But it's why we've gotten the business to where it is. And I think, sort of to piggyback off what Annabelle was saying, I think one of the best things about working together is that we've both grown up in the same environment, so we're very similar in that way, but we are both also incredibly different, which is why I think it works. I have come from a very creative background, love advertising, love brands, and really just like wanted to take all of that knowledge and place it on Clutch. Annabelle, very pragmatic, incredibly organized project manager, has just been able to apply that to Clutch. So running alongside has just been like a bit of a dream team.
And natural.
Yeah,
Natural.
totally.
Yeah, you guys complement each other's skill sets, which is so important with co-founders. What is something that you wish you knew before you launched the brand?
Oh God.
Everything.
Everything. But I think that's also a part of it. And I would argue that like the beauty about launching a brand for the first time is that there's so much power in that like blissful ignorance. It's just a beautiful thing. And that, like, I don't know, I sometimes envy like past me for just being like, that was just crazy. Like, good on you for doing that, but like, holy shit. And like, I think I had bigger balls then than I do now, but I think I also make probably just like more insightful decisions and more calculated risk now. But honestly, yeah, I know that that's probably a really corny response, but there's like nothing that I like really was like that stupid not to know that, because we were going to find out sooner rather than later.
Totally.
And it sort of didn't matter whether I learnt it then or I learnt it now. As long as I know it, I was gonna overcome that hurdle.
Totally. I have a very specific one that I do actually wish I knew, and it was that influencers are like really expensive and they don't always work.
Yes.
I like really wish that I'd known that at the start, because that one's just like it shocked me at the start and it still shocks me to this day.
100%. I mean, it makes my skin crawl. Like, we get rates from influencers and then you get your analytics back and you're like, so I'm going to sell one tube for $75,000. I went, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And it's just wild to me. I don't know who's coming up with these influencer rates, but they need to fucking stop.
They gotta stop.
I mean, I think it's like the bubble has started to burst a little bit with influencers. Like, they definitely used to convert like so much better, which is why so much of the budget moved from media to influencers, because it was like for the first time you could spend money and get money back.
Yes.
Okay, so speaking of influencers and social media, tell us about like going viral on TikTok.
Oh my God, so fun.
That was crazy. So the first day that we went viral on TikTok, I uploaded a 10-second video of a spaghetti strap falling off my shoulder. I clutched it on, and then oh my God, it doesn't fall off my shoulder again.
Literally just a reply to a comment of someone being like, can I use this on my spaghetti straps? And we said,
yes. that was pretty much it. It was 10 seconds, and then I went to bed. I uploaded it, went to bed, and then the next morning I woke up and it had over 9 million views, over 420,000 likes, and we had sold out all of our stock. I think we made about $160,000 in 12 hours. Wow. And I went, holy shit. And then what was great about that moment, though, and it was lucky that it happened when it did, was I was over at Lucy's house earlier that day, and we were just like going through like bulk content of like, here's it on a silk scarf, and here's it on a sock, and here's it on a thigh-high boot. Like, we went through every single possible use case. I like brought over my whole wardrobe basically, and we just went through it. So once we went viral and people were asking great questions like, can I use it on silk? Can I do it on bike shorts? Like, we had them already there. So then we just went boom, 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 and then we just started posting like religiously. And since then it was just the perfect thing, because you got to strike while the iron's hot when you're viral, especially when it's organic. Virality, it doesn't mean that then you're just relevant for the rest of time. The algorithm comes and goes in waves, as we all know. And
so
you
also don't just wake up with 1 million followers. Like, it does have to keep going.
Absolutely. So I think that that was also a really big lesson, though, in that it was like, okay, we're viral right now, but like tomorrow or the next day, that's a completely different story. And like, how are we going to continue to grow organically? And then also, what does that look like if we then went into the paid space? So mental though, and we still go viral to this day organically on TikTok. Our entire TikTok following is like completely organic, and so is our Instagram, actually, for that matter, which has actually been wonderful because
they're super engaged. They give us a lot of feedback. We get ideas from them, hence new product that's coming out. And they tell us when things are wrong. Like, we've rolled out in retailers and things have not been great, but the first thing our audience do is message us and go, hey, so I've like been to a bunch of stores and I can't find it. And we're like, thank you for telling us, rather than just getting mad.
And they know that they're talking to us. And I think that that's a really strong thing about a founder-led brand, is that they know that they're actually talking to me.
If you could give one piece of advice, our audience are like Gen Z women for the most part. What is some advice you would give to women who are in high school or like early 20s?
You don't need to know it all. I still don't know it all. I don't like this business that I'm running at the moment. Holy fuck, I have no idea what's going on.
I don't know.
And that's just like that's a beautiful thing that I've also resigned myself to learning all the time. Yeah. Feel free to fail. And failing is not failing, it's learning always. Again, it's a cliche, but it is so true. I think that taking yourself seriously is only going to get you hurt. Put your ego aside and just get it done.
I think also like curiosity is so powerful. Like, be curious, ask questions. Because like, if someone turns around and goes, you should know that, then they're terrible, and like, ignore them. Like, curiosity is absolutely one of the best traits to have. Another one for me, and I feel like we had a session earlier with some high school students, and I said this before as well, like, trust your gut. Like, getting in tune with your gut, what feels right for you, what you are talented at, what like is the thing that lights you up. As soon as you connect with that, you're just going to take off to the moon. So
100%.
as soon as you can get there, do it.
Yeah, I said when I was doing my session with high school students, I said, like, just try a bunch of different stuff. Like, I had 100 different careers in my 20s. Careers? Yeah, careers. I was like, is that the right word? Jobs, careers, whatever. In my 20s, like, I just did so much random shit. And then you just figure out what you like and what you don't like.
100%. And
Exactly.
just try. Like, you're not going to fail. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much.
For having us.